welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going through the Hellbound cruise lineups. Hellbound is a metal festival on water that is departing from Sydney in October of this year, 2026, and also soon after in January 2027. Both cruises exclusively, apart from several New Zealand bands on number 2, are predominantly Australian bands. The first cruise is actually put together with the help of Destroy All Lines, which is probably one of the bigger promoters in Australia. Think of Good Things, Not Fest, pretty much any big tour in the country, they've got their fingers within it, and they've also got all the big Australian acts, Parkway Drive, Make Them Suffer, the list goes on, Amity, Affliction. If there is a big tour in Australia, usually they have a big part of it. And behind Hellbound Cruise 2 is Death Proof, who have been known to work with some massive acts as well, including Viart Is Murder, which is obviously on that cruise. So today I'll be going through my preferences. I've done my best to pin bands against each other within similar genres. All the headlining acts I've kept together. I feel like that's only fair. So I've pinned them against each other, and I've also selected a few of the lower name bands and put them against each other. Now, I don't know every band on both cruises. I do know quite a few more bands on Hellbound 1 as opposed to Hellbound 2. These are just my opinions on my preference of music. That's not to saying if I don't pick a band that you like that I hate them. That's not the case. It's more so the fact that I've probably never heard any of their music. If I am missing a big band on the lower runs and you've got some suggestions for music, I'd love to hear it. I'm always open to hearing new music. So yeah, let's get to it. Probably a bit of a caveat is that Parkway Drive are on both cruises, both headliners, well deserved. They cop quite a lot, and it seems like it's increasing quite a bit. They are out there. They're doing a lot of things. The Sydney Opera House, they done it. Parkways, which is unfortunate. I sort of thought Parkways was probably a bit ambitious. Their heart was in the right place. They were taking it all to regional areas of the country, except for Tasmania. But yeah, their heart was in the right place. It's a shame it never got up, but there was so many dates. It sort of seemed like it was inevitable that was going to happen. They are probably verging on being oversaturated in this country at the moment. I do believe after these two cruises that they'll probably have a bit of an absence in this country. They've got a new album coming out which will probably drop around Hellbound Cruise 1, I'm hoping. If not, it should be in between, but it seems like they are gearing up for sort of another global assault, which they deserved, and they will headline Download Festival, Wacken again, Hellfest. They will headline those festivals, and that's for sort of the trajectory that they're going at. So it's well deserved. I understand they're saturated at the moment, but in saying that, I haven't seen them since 2011, 2012. It's been a long time since I've seen Parkway Drive, and I am excited to see them. And another caveat, I will be attending Hellbound Cruise 1. My partner and I were extremely lucky to get tickets to that cruise. It was very chaotic getting tickets to that cruise. It sold out within 7 minutes. It was all sold out within pre-sale, and it actually went up for sale prior to pre-sale, which is crazy, but thankfully we're there. I know a lot of people missed out, which is unfortunate, but they get the opportunity on Hellbound 2 to attend. Obviously different bands, but I believe the experiences will be fairly similar. So, along with Parkway Drive, Future Static will also be on both cruises, so that's a good opportunity for them. Haven't heard too much of their music. I've heard it on the Hellbound playlist, just sort of gearing up for that. They sound good. Hellbound 1's very represented by female-led bands, which is great. It's fantastic. You have the likes of Relica, the Beautiful Monument as well. Relica are a fantastic band, super technical. I've seen them at the start of 2025 with Amity. Awesome band. Looking forward to seeing them live. They dropped some new music last year, which was also great. But yeah, so we'll get into this. So let's get into it. Bands offer rank number 1 are Polaris against the Amity Affliction. Now, they seem as similar as possible on both of these lineups. Probably a good comparison between both of them. Polaris, fantastic. Fatalism, massive album, obviously with a tragedy around their guitarist passing away as well. They are a fantastic band. Saw them in 2024. Only seen them once as well. They are working on new music at the moment, so hopefully a album drop or at least some new music this year would be fantastic. I believe that's in the pipelines. I've heard on several interviews, one with Jai Munji, they do definitely have music on the way, so that's great. Amity Affliction was probably the biggest glaring miss in Hellbound 1. It was in my predictions that they would be on board, so them being on Hellbound 2 was almost a lock for everyone I spoke to, and they are a huge get. 99% of the music is about the ocean, but they are fantastic. Massive Australian band, new lineup with Johnny Reeves in it. Aaron, as pictured, he will be missed. He's a vibe. He was the difference in that band compared to a lot of other metalcore bands. Like, his voice is so distinct, but I am keen to see where they go with it. Johnny's very talented. I'm seeing them in March down here in Hobart, which will be great, so I'll hold my verdict until then. But between these two bands, two huge Australian metalcore acts, very huge international presence, and they're overseas every year. They are two of Australia's biggest bands. As much as I love Polaris, I will have to go with not Parkway Drive. I will have to go with Amity Affliction. I thought it was a huge glaring miss for Hellbound 1, but obviously they probably had contingency plans that number 2 would go ahead, and Amity is a big draw card, so I'm going to put that up in my picks. I put Polaris back down. So the way I'm working this is whoever has the least amount of artists is probably my preference of each Hellbound. It's probably a good visual representation of my preferences. So next up we have Make Them Suffer versus Alpha-Wolf. A couple of Tassie boys in that band. I have seen both bands. I saw Make Them Suffer at Good Things 2025, so last year. They opened up before Lorna Shore. Fantastic band, great catalogue. I see a lot of people actually saying that they're probably Australia's biggest metalcore band at the moment. I have to agree with that. they're just a great all-round band. They've got the difference in having two singers, one with being a female. Great contrast. As I said, yeah, just a great live band. Deserve everything they've got. Hoping for new music soon. This year would be great. I know they're not too far off their previous album, so might be a bit ambitious on my behalf. And Alpha Wolf, thankfully seen them as well. Opened up for Amity. Great band, aggressive band. Probably don't listen to them a great deal. Yeah, I enjoy them though, but I do listen to Make Them Suffer quite a bit more. Alpha Wolf would be a vibe on a ship, no doubt, but I will go with Make Them Suffer. Next up, we have In Heart's Wake verse. Let's go with. We'll go with Ocean Grove. Again, I've been fortunate to see both bands. I've only saw In Heart's Wake once and Ocean Grove twice now. I've seen Ocean Grove opened up for Polaris when I saw them down here in Hobart. And also my son's band, I See Red, actually opened up for Ocean Grove only a few months ago, again down here in Hobart. That great experience, huge exposure for I See Red. They killed it. So yeah, big props to Ocean Grove for having them on that gig. Great band live. They also just came off a huge European tour with was it Thornhill? Is it Thornhill and Bloom? Two of Australia's biggest up-and-coming bands in Bloom and Thornhill, and they killed it. Heard a couple of podcasts where Ocean Grove and Thornhill actually swap songs, which is really cool as well. It just shows you how diverse and how skilled of musicians they actually are. And In Heart's Wake, I hear them. I hear so many times that they're right there with sort of the Parkway Drives and Amity's, all the big metalcore bands, but they're just that little tier below. Unfortunately, I saw them live. Was it last year or the year prior? And fantastic live, extremely heavy band live as well. I was sort of taken a bit back by that. Not a great deal of clean singing in the songs, which I'm fine with. That's great, but yeah, they really slapped live. Massive, heavy band. Now, from these two, as far as their catalogues, like back catalogues go, I probably listen to In Heart's Wake a bit more than Ocean Grove. Starting to warm into Ocean Grove, but I'm just not at that stage yet. I'd love to hear suggestions or recommendations of songs to get into Ocean Grove a bit more, but for now I'm going to pick In Heart's Wake. Next up, we're going to have two Aussie classics from different scenes. We've got the Butterfly Effect and I Killed the Prom Queen. Probably a little bit embarrassing. That was around my era of getting into this music, but I've actually never heard any song by I Killed the Prom Queen. I know who they are. I know what massive following they had and what they done for the scene back here in the mid 2000s and how important they are. It's really strange that I've never listened to any songs, so I am extremely keen to hear some of their best work. So if you could comment down below about what songs I should listen to, that would be great. As far as Butterfly Effect goes, I had Reach their song Reach, I'm basically replay for a good solid year of my youth. Some reason that song just really hit. Never seen them live, as I haven't with I Killed the Prom Queen, but for nostalgia, I'll go with Butterfly Effect. But in saying that, I feel like I would actually probably enjoy I Killed the Prom Queen quite a bit more. I just don't know their music, and I should really know their music. But yeah, if you could give me some suggestions, that would be great. So I'm going to have to put them back down here. Next up, we've got Northlane versus Viart. And as you can see with Viart, I've still got CJ as the lead singer. Controversy, but that's the era of Viart that I enjoy, and probably the era that I'm attached to as well. I saw Viart with their new singer shortly after their big departure. That was at Knotfest, and it just didn't hit like it did with CJ. CJ's one of the OGs of the scene. I mean, it doesn't almost go a week without seeing him with his shirt open on stage, gathering wind. He's a legend. I don't want to get too much into what happened, but I feel like there's probably more behind it than what actually came out. So I'll just leave that with that. Northlane, saw them last year. I'm not sure if it was a venue, but wasn't massively into their music. It was very electronic. I know that's sort of what way they're going. I know Make Them Suffer like that. Difference is, I think Make Them Suffer use it in a good way. Couldn't get into them live. I've heard they're fantastic live, so everyone who I said I didn't enjoy it was actually really surprised. So I am definitely giving them another chance on the cruise. They actually just announced that they're coming back down to Hobart again really soon with Inertia, and Inertia are fantastic. We love Inertia. We've seen Inertia about 3-4 times within the space of 12 months. But unfortunately, we're just going to give that a skip until we see Northlane back on the cruise. And get a second taste of that. So I will go with Viart, even though CJ should still be in the band, and I probably wouldn't see them without CJ. But I would see Viart over Northlane. Chuck that back down there. Next up, we've got two of probably Australia's biggest up-and-coming bands in Bloom. I'll gush about Bloom, but we'll get to that. And let's pin them up against Banks Arcade. This is another one where I've heard of Banks Arcade. I've heard a couple of their songs, but I've never really gotten into them. Nothing's really stuck for me. I understand they are a huge band coming out of New Zealand, but I haven't had quite the pull towards them yet. So it's really hard to comment. It's not to say I don't like them. I don't really know a lot of their music. So again, suggestions would be great with them. Bloom, this is a really unfair comparison for me. I love Bloom. Bloom's fantastic. One of the best bands I've seen live in 2025. The music just hits, and they span so many different genres. You got like the shoegazy stuff, classic metalcore, more hardcore. They're just great. They're one of Australia's best up-and-coming bands, and I don't feel like they've had that recognition that they deserve yet. I feel Thornhill definitely has. They got the Sleep Token opening gig in the US, which was huge for them. Massive stepping stone. I feel like Bloom are probably that next band to get that opportunity. Listening to an interview on Triple J where they interviewed the lead singer of Silverstein, and he also mentioned that Bloom was his top up and coming Australian act, and I couldn't agree more. Their songs are fantastic live, and just they just really hit for me. Bloom's actually probably one of the bigger draw cards for me on why me and my partner wanted to go to this cruise. They're great. If you haven't seen them, see them. If you haven't heard them, definitely listen to them. They're just fantastic. Their latest album was mind-blowing. Out of Reach was probably my favourite song on that album, but give them a listen. That's an easy pick for me. Banks Arcade, definitely open to them, just nothing's really stuck. I'd like to hear your recommendations on what to listen to from them, but we'll chuck them back down here for the time being. Next one up is Wind Waker and Red Hook. Again, I know who Red Hook are. Nothing's really stuck. Can appreciate that they are also a big up-and-coming band. But yeah, nothing's really stuck for me at the moment. I heard they're fantastic live. Some reason they've been on a few national runs, and Tassie just seems to get the brush. They're opening up for Amity on their regional run and just missing Tassie altogether. So I haven't had a chance to see them live yet, but yeah, again, it's going to be a pretty easy pick for me. Wind Waker are fantastic, just massive party vibe. I've seen them about twice now, Not Fest, and just seen them at Good Things late last year. And just for sound difference, I think it's roughly about a year and a half, 2 years between those two gigs, and you can just see the level that they went up in that time. Their latest album was great as well. They're killing it at the moment. They're going to be a huge vibe on the cruise. So yeah, easy one for me. Wind Waker is my pick, and Red Hook will go down here. Again, some suggestions on what to listen to with Red Hook would be great. Next up, we've got some deathcore. So we've got To the Grave and Heaven's Gate. Now, I have actually seen both of these bands once each. I saw To the Grave open up for Lorna Shore at the Forum in Melbourne at the start of 2025. Amazing gig, mainly due to Lorna Shore. They were fantastic. It's the best gig we've ever been to. From then on, we actually vowed that if Lorna came to Australia, we were going. That was prior to I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within dropping, and there's not one miss on that entire album. That is my album of the year for 2025, without a doubt. We've even got a song from I Feel the Black Festering Within as a part of our wedding. That's how impactful Lorna Shore is to us, and little did we know they were actually coming back down within the same year, so we saw them twice in 1 year, which was great. But enough Lorna Shore chat. To the Grave were great, fantastic live band, probably one of Australia's sort of forming into probably one of Australia's bigger deathcore bands. Viart probably still has that crown at the moment, but these guys are huge. Love the song Made in Australia. Don't fully agree with the whole meat thing. Love me some steak, but yeah, each to their own. They're allowed to have their opinion. Feel it probably bleeds into their music a bit too much for my liking. It's probably seemed a little bit lectury sort of deal, but if they believe in their message and they're trying to convey it. Heaven's Gate saw them open up for Currents and Chelsea Green in Hobart last year. Fantastic band. They were great live. They played before Bloom. I thought Bloom was better, but I love Bloom. So out of those two, I know more To the Grave songs. Probably listen to them a bit more, so I will say To the Grave. That's probably one of the tightest ones. It could quite easily be Heaven's Gate. It's getting through there, but yeah, I will have to stick To the Grave there. Chuck that back down there. Next up we have we only have one more. We have Gloom in the Corner and Gravemind. Now, as you can see, I've never listened to Gravemind, heard of them, never listened to their stuff, haven't seen them live. So again, suggestions on what to listen to from them. Gloom in the Corner, fantastic. Never seen them live though, but I've heard nothing but good things about their live performance. Their latest work's really good as well. Assassination Run, call-outs in that were great. Really cool band, and I believe they're working on a new album as well, so hopefully that drops before the cruise. So again, unfortunately it's an easy one, just due to not knowing their work, unfortunately. Seems like I would like Gravemind, but yeah, I haven't listened to them. I'd love to listen to them, so suggestions on that would be great. But yeah, Gloom in the Corner goes to my picks, which I'll go back down there. And now I've got two here. I guess honourable mentions. I couldn't find anyone from Hellbound II who first I actually knew and who would actually tee up against these two. Ocean Sleeper are fantastic. Their catalogue's so vast, and I don't feel like they actually get the recognition they deserve. They should be so much bigger than what it perceives that they are. I know they do a lot of the stuff themselves as well, which is great. It's like really early Parkway sort of vibes with that. But they're great live. They kill it. I've seen them once prior, and yeah, just their songs are just so catchy and sing along, and there's always pits, and it's just a really good time with Ocean Sleeper. And honestly, they're probably up there with all of these bands with how much I actually listen to Ocean Sleeper. They're just, they're really underrated, and I think they're only an album away from getting the true exposure they actually deserve. Like, yeah, they're huge. Massive love for Ocean Sleeper. And Diamond Construct. Now, previously on... So, when we booked Hellbound 1, we knew quite a few of the lower named bands, but we didn't know all of them. So we'd just chuck on playlists, and Diamond Construct would come up, and honestly wasn't my jam at all. Like, not something I've listened to previously, and not something I would like sort of really put on. But then Discarded came out, and has blown my mind. That's honestly very, very easily in my top 3 songs for 2026 already. It's a fucking sweet song. Like, it's really, really cool. And if you haven't heard Discarded, listen to it. Like, it's mind-blowing. I feel you can still tell it's Diamond Construct, but it's so different. And The lead singer's voice is just amazing. Like, even the clean singing in it is just amazing, and he's got the heavies, and they're just a really well-rounded band. And like all of their effects, I didn't realize. Like, I don't know anything technically about music. Like, I love music. It's one of my biggest passions, as in hobby side. But yeah, they do all their own effects on guitar, which is awesome. It's not just like someone pressing a keyboard or pressing a button on a computer. Like, he's doing that with pedals. Like, that's awesome. And yeah, they're going to be a really big listen for me this year, because if they follow on from what they created with Discarded, I'm really into Diamond Construct. So yeah, these are my picks out of this. As you can see, I heavy lean towards Hellbound. Now, I actually think headline wise, both cruises are actually really close. I believe, what are they? I've missed out 2 headliners on Hellbound 1. And technically I've only missed 2 headliners on Hellbound 2 because Ocean Grove's on the smaller side of the writing. So I think the headliner is actually really comparable, and they're very close between both. Like, you wouldn't be disappointed on either cruise for the headliners. I just feel the big disparity between both cruises is actually in the lower run of bands. I feel Hellbound 1 is by far superior to Hellbound 2, but with the side note of, I know a lot more bands on Hellbound 1, so I could be wrong in saying that, and I could be glancingly missing an amazing band which I just have not heard of. So if you could help me and suggest some music from the Hellbound 2 sort of lower run, that would be great. But for now, I do believe Hellbound 1 has the better lineup. Love to hear your thoughts on this, and let us know if you're going to Hellbound 1 or Hellbound 2. Would love to hear who you're psyched to see, and who are your sneaky up-and-coming bands on either of these lineups. Thank you.